Get a look at this. Oh Lord. Alright guys, we got the Trident motor back on the bench and ready to do part 3, I think. Just to go over last time, I remember we had this little problem right here. Broke the chain, the tensioner broke in here. I did notice, and we'll see it when I get it off, I did notice that a piece had apparently wrapped around here and probably broke at least one tooth. So let's take this primary chain piece off and get to it. An 11/16, or I believe a 27mm will do this. However, I don't have a deep well of either of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block off this side and break this side like so. And the reason I needed a deep well is because of this piece sticking out. This works just as well. Of course, I'm going to use air on the other side. If you don't have air, you can just block this with a piece of wood. I've done that before. It's not a real huge deal. That piece off. Lock and bolt. That'll come off in a second. Now to get this one off, we need to take a screwdriver and bend back this locking washer. That one's kind of mangled up. Grab our leaky impact wrench and just like that. Impact wrenches make it a lot easier, but you don't have to have them. That off. Get the locking washer off. Set those aside. Notice that piece comes right off. If it doesn't come right off, it's got screws here to pull it with. Use a regular puller. And this piece is a little bit sticky. And we'll just use a brass punch to knock in the shaft a little bit, and it still won't come off. There it goes. Just kind of got to work it off there. Work both sides at the same time. Maybe. Sometimes they fight you a little bit. Problem is I need to knock that back a little bit. Just hitting it really lightly. It doesn't take a lot to move it. It's just kind of wedged on there a little bit. Go ahead and take this side off now. Got far enough. Get the chain off. And let's look at that chain a second. So we got that one right there. It's pretty bad. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm using a new camera, so let me know what you think. My other camera, I think it got a little bit of mud in it. And it still records, but not all the time. So I got a little bit, I updated my camera a little bit, so maybe get some more, a little bit better videos. Okay, the only damage I see is on this one link, but basically that chain's trash now. These are, they call it a triplex chain, because they have 3 rollers. They are not repairable. Not that I've ever seen anyway. They're not cheap either. Not for a good one. This is probably a Reynolds. It's probably original for the bike. Reynolds, made in England. Oh, drop it on the ground. It's trash anyway. So now we can see there's an oil pump. Here's the gear that drives the oil pump off of the crankshaft. Save that. Go ahead and take that gear off. The gear has very little wear on it. Looks good. Get the rest of this couche box off. I call it a couche box. Don't ask me why. She's just tight. See all that play in there? Now some of that is this gear rocking on there, but a lot of it was that actual shaft. Alright, so there's that piece. And I told you that there's rubber in here. Let me take that apart real quick and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, our thrust washer fell out. That's a copper thrust washer, copper or bronze. But if you're going through all this trouble, a $5 thrust washer is really not something you want to. You might as well get it. By the way, I wouldn't use an 8-inch extension on this normally. It's a little bit of overkill, but for videoing wise, it allows you to see it. You know, because I know you guys are fascinated by bolts coming out. It's the handiest trick for any mechanic, by the way. You guys who play video games all the time ought to be able to do this easy. Take out 2 bolts at once. The ultimate trick is to put in a bolt and take out a bolt at the same time. Like this. I just did it backwards. I switched it up. Once you get it in your head doing it, it's easy to do. Okay, so we got those out. Just going to put the gears on the wood, teeth, knock it out. So this is basically a couche drive, is what I've always called them. I don't know, I can't remember what they call them. But basically you have rubbers in here, sit kind of like that. By the way, these are a pain to install, and these vanes contact them. That takes up forces such as this. if you put the full weight of the crankshaft, or the full torque of the crankshaft to this piece, you could break the chain, you could break teeth. So it gives you a little bit of slack there to take up. Ooh. Yes, I did just drop that and smash my finger between one of the gears. Let's see if we can find the gear that's broken here that I saw. Yeah, there it is. See it right there by my thumb, and the one next to it. Those two right there. Something got in between there and has cracked the top of those gears, these two right here. So this is trash. This is savable. Got a needle bearing in here. Same deal on it. Probably just replace it. Okay, let's do the oil pump. Notice you got 1, 2, 3, 4 posi drive screws. You don't need to take out the flat bit screws. They're actually part of the oil pump housing. So we're going to take out those. Okay, this piece will come right off. Just got to work it around the pipe there. Let's take a look at that real quick. See if it got chowdered. It looks pretty good. I actually didn't look at the crankshaft sprocket. I don't see any broken teeth. However, this crankshaft sprocket, the teeth are very sharp. So this part is probably not reusable. Okay, this is not the way I wanted to do it, but I did take the other bolts out, and I'm going to have to split this thing. It's really stuck in there, so I did get it loose. It's coming out. You see only half of it came out. That's okay. Now that that's loose, this piece is loose in there. So, I take one of the slotted bolts, put it in the right hole. Alright, I did get it out of here. Okay, so got this thing back together. You can see how it squeezes oil through these passages. It's just a simple oil pump. There's a low side and a high side to these. The larger gear here, I believe, is the high side. I don't remember for sure. And then this side is actually your low side. Let me just go ahead and see if I can pull this case the rest of the way off. Okay, if you'll remember the problem I had getting the transmission off of the 500, you'll remember this piece was horizontal instead of vertical as it is there. It's a little bit different, obviously. Same concept though. That's your shifter, that's your shift selector. Changes your shift dogs. Okay, we're totally missing let's see, that's the lay shaft. We're totally missing the lay shaft. There's about an 1/8 inch of wobble in that bearing. So sprockets over here, main sprocket chain, free chain. I think you can see how much wiggle is in there. The bearing is definitely bad. Okay, now we're on to the timing side. And this is very similar to all the other Triumphs out there. It's a little beefier. Oops. It's a little beefier, but it's basically the same thing. That off. I gotta get these off. I don't want to manhandle on this too much. Sometimes you have to. Nah, it's just tight on there. Not usually this hard. But you're fighting magnetism. And a tight fit. I think that might be what it is, though. I think this stud might actually be bent a little bit. Not usually this difficult. I just can't find a... And obviously I'm not prying on the plastic or the rubber, whatever it is, elastopolymer. We'll call it that. But I really don't want to pry on the metal either, because this is sandwiched thin pieces of metal. Let's put brass bar. Okay. Yeah, I have another problem too. I don't think I've seen that. So we got lines of metal here. Thin metal. Striations. Is that what they call that? Yeah, we'll call it that. Inside, you've got the same things divided by the elastopolymer, whatever the hell this stuff is. Okay? That has eaten into the rotor. It's actually grooved. I can feel it with my fingers. I haven't seen that. I have not seen that. I'm not sure what indicative of, other than it's too tight, or the rotor is actually out of round. It feels even all the way around. Or perhaps no, that looks like a Trident. The Trident stators, this bit, are a little bit wider. They put out a little bit more juice. I'm gonna have to look that up. I've never seen that before. I've never seen one eat into it like this. This is just awful. That's also why it was so hard to get off. It was tight on this bottom one, but now I'm thinking maybe it's not bent, but it was having to go across these striations on this rotor. Put this on and just hand did it off, you know. Actually, I did. I didn't put a wrench on this. I just put this on and started pulling, and it Came right off. Nice when that happens. Let me show you a close-up of this, what I'm talking about. See those cuts in there? Any of you guys that do a lot of Triumphs, ever seen anything like that? Where the stator actually cut into the rotor? I've never seen that. Not that bad. By the way, if you're not sure how to test these, there's a real simple trick. Take you a good sized wrench. This is a 1-inch wrench. Take your rotor. Now, spread your feet apart so in case it drops, you don't drop it on you. Let go. If the rotor hangs on, as such, it's a pretty good bet that it's a strong rotor. If it doesn't, yeah, it's just a fairly strong magnet. Alright, I'm going to finish up this video by taking off these couple of gears. You need one of these pullers to do that. It's the best way to do it. One of these is left-handed. That one. Sorry, they're both right-handed. I'm wrong. Been wrong a lot today. Hot out. Dogs barking. Driving me insane. On there. My battery dies. You know what that's about. And just like that, they come off. Easy peasy. Alright guys, I'm going to get the other one off. Like I said, my battery's about to die. I've got some extra batteries coming for this thing, for the new camera. So I'm going to end it here. Next time we're going to take off, well, next time we're going to finish it up basically. That includes taking the jugs off, cylinders, split the case, still got a clutch to take out, and that'll be it. And then you've seen a complete disassemble of a 1969 Trident engine. As always guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, and if you like the content even more than just subscribing, hit that up button, that thumbs up button, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.